Hey everybody, it is Aaron at Warmoth, and today I thought I would do one last video on the double neck that I made a while back and talk about all the things I've learned as a newly minted double neck owner. And a lot of the things apply to regular 6 strings too, so stick around. So just a while back I did a 4-part video series where I built a double neck. And I really built it just to play one song. I needed a guitar that I could perform Dead or Alive with in my Bon Jovi tribute band. And by the time I got to the 4th installment of that video series, I played some stuff on it, and it was done at that time, but it was brand newly assembled. And now it's been a couple of months and it's had some time to settle in. I've had some time to really work on the intonation and some other things and replace some of the parts and learn some lessons after having it for a couple of months. So I figured I would make this video to go over those things. The first challenge I had was finding a case. Cases for double necks are not easy to find, and usually when you can find them, they are geared towards like a Gibson SG style double neck like Jimmy Page played. And so they're just a little bit too narrow. And so this is the case I got, and I got it from a place called roadcases.com. They make these generic guitar cases in a couple of different sizes, and the biggest size was still too narrow. So I contacted them and said, can you make it just like an inch or two wider to accommodate my guitar? And they said, sure, no problem. So I ordered it, and a couple weeks later, this is what I got. And you can see that it's, it looks just like a road case. It's got butterfly latches out here on the corner. You can't see it, and then it's got a keyed latch in the center. It's got the spring handle over here. Sorry to be groping around for all these things, but I'm watching myself in the monitor and it's all backwards. Anyway, and then the foam on the inside, and then you cut the shape out yourself, which is really the only bad part, because if you look here, you can see it looks like it was cut out by a kindergartner. There's just no way to get those edges perfect, but it's good enough. And they have all kinds of other options too. You can get more robust corners. You can get wheels if you want to drag it or whatever. I didn't get any of that stuff. All I need is something to get it from the car to the bar, and this will work perfect. So this isn't really a roadcases.com review, although it's kind of become that, but this was the best solution I found for an odd-shaped guitar, and I bet it would be a great solution for a lot of the other shapes that Warmoth sells that are hard to find cases for. Once I had the issue of the case settled, the next thing that I needed to take care of was the headstock issue. And I talked about that in my original video, that if I had it to do over again, I would make the 6-string neck a right-hand reverse so the tuners were on this side. It was too late for that. So what I did instead was I replaced the vintage style tuners with locking. And they look exactly the same. They use exactly the same mounting holes and everything. So switching was super easy, but now they are locking, so I don't have to sit there and turn it and turn it and turn it when I change strings. I just put it through the locking mechanism, and I only have to turn it a couple times. So I've kind of solved that issue. Through the whole process, though, I learned that I really don't like vintage style tuners. Give me modern Godot tuners any day. I originally chose these because I thought they would be the lightest option, since this is already a fairly heavy guitar. And I think that the weight savings was barely worth it. To do it again, I would just go with modern Godot tuners. So there's that. The next thing I did is I swapped out both of the pickups on the 12 neck side. If you remember, originally I went with a JB and then a pair of cool rails. And the cool rails were just too smooth, and they didn't blend well when I was hopping back and forth between necks. So instead I swapped out to a JB Junior and a little 59, and huge improvement. First of all, because then you're going from a JB to a JB Junior, so they already have similar tonal characteristics. tell you, it's fun to use not just as a jangly clean 12 string, but you know, with that JB Junior in there, you can hit it with some pretty heavy overdrive, and you can do some really cool kind of lead stuff or chords that sound like they have an octave effect on them. So that transition is great, but the thing that really surprised me was the little 59. That thing sounds stellar. You know, the combo, the humbucking combo that Seymour Duncan always recommends is the JB Jazz, but I've never liked the Jazz in the neck. And for some reason, I've never tried the 59. Well, after experiencing this little 59, the next time I do a full humbucker set, I'm putting the regular 59 humbucker in the neck because I love it. Anyway, so there's that. I swapped those two pickups out. And as long as we're talking about the pickups, there's one other thing I need to acknowledge, and that is the super switch that I use down here. I had a lot of trouble with that darn thing. I originally tried a standard 5-way switch and that didn't work, and then I bought a super switch and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and eventually figured out it was defective. So I got another 5-way switch. Well, through this all, I had questions. I hadn't wired in a super switch before. And so I turned to one of the best resources for building guitars on the internet, and that is unofficialwarmoth.com. And I asked for help on that, and it was crazy how those guys jumped in to help. Mayfly, the forumite, his username is Mayfly. He did a circuit diagram, there you go, of how it should be wired in. Of course, that looked like Greek to me, so I pleaded for somebody to like draw a picture style diagram, and a forumite Stratomania jumped in and did this diagram that's just like perfect. It looks totally pro done. And so I was able to get that the 5-way switch wired in correctly. And then the next thing that I talked about in those videos was the string retainer. You know, you need a string retainer down here so that you've got a sharp enough break angle that the strings aren't hopping out of the nut or they're not ringing behind the nut. And you don't really need it with the Warmoth 12-string neck, because the headstock on a Warmoth 12-string is much shorter than it is on a Fender 12-string. A Fender 12-string headstock comes way out here, but because ours is shorter, the break angle is automatically a little greater, and you don't totally need the string retainer, but I wanted one just for peace of mind and to know that it was taken care of. Well, these little doohickeys right here are impossible to find. I researched that almost as much as I researched the case, and I could not find one anywhere except for on, you know, taken off of an old Fender and somebody wants $75 or $100 for it. And once again, Unofficial Warmoth, the guys there came to my rescue. Again, user forumite Mayfly happened to have an old Fender 12-string. He totally took all the strings off. He removed the string retainer from his and did a mechanical drawing of it. You can see it here. It's just like, I mean, I don't know what Mayfly's job is. I don't know if he's an engineer or what, but he's a wizard as far as I'm concerned. He did this perfect drawing of it with all the dimensions. And then another forumite on Unofficial Warmoth named Dangerous R6, who is a machinist by trade, he actually made that for me. And another wizard on Unofficial Warmoth. And you can see here, he did it to Mayfly's drawing. It works perfectly. He even put the little Warmoth W on the top. It's insane. You know, these guys just, I made a comment about needing this part. They made one out of thin air, and I was able to get that, and it works perfectly. So massive shout out to Unofficial Warmoth and all the guys there. If you are interested in building guitars, or if you have Warmoth questions and you're not going to unofficialwarmoth.com, you're missing out on a massive wealth of knowledge and experience. The guys there are passionate about guitars. They love helping out with this kind of stuff. So definitely check out unofficialwarmoth.com. I have discovered that this bridge is awesome. The 12-string bridge that Warmoth sells is killer. You can adjust the intonation of every single string independently. And I found that and I think this is because some of the strings, the main 6 strings, go through the guitar body and through ferrules in the back, but the harmony strings string in through the end of the bridge. And I think that's why I found that in every case, the main string needed the saddle moved that way, and the harmony string needed the saddle moved that way. It took me a while. I mean, you got basically, when you intonate this beast, you're intonating 3 guitars. So it took me a while to get everything dialed in. And I still think there's a little more dialing to go, but it sounds way better now than it did when I shot that original video. So I am going to play the intro to Dead or Alive and then splice in the video from the original so you can hear how much more in tune it sounds. Hope you can. I haven't actually done this yet. Maybe I'll find out, it was good enough to begin with. But I think it's going to sound a lot more in tune. So let's play it. It's really cool, and I am loving it more and more all the time, and I'm using it way more than I ever thought I would. And that is everything I have learned after owning a double neck for a couple of months. I hope that information was useful to you if you own a double neck, or if you're planning to build one, or even if you just own a regular old 6-string guitar. I hope you found something in there that was useful. Anyway, if you have any more questions, make sure and check out the Warmoth website or give our customer service reps a call. And until next time, keep on picking.